It's always nice to know you have backdoor people.
Okay, I am live on Facebook right now with the one and only Gary Douglas. I think that's a miracle in itself.
It is a miracle because I wasn't going to do this.
We could just sit here and look pretty. I think we've accomplished something great, you know.
Exactly.
So, Gary,
Yes.
this month, September, is National Recovery Month, and I've been doing different things, but I wanted to talk to you about addiction and recovery. But what we titled this was "The Lies We Live By to Stay Addicted."
Yeah. Well, it's like the thing is, we have lots of people who have this point of view that they want to maintain an image or they want to maintain a status or they feel like they've achieved something by being drunk, basically, by being drunk or stoned. It's like, it's like you have this image to live up to. And the funny part about it is years ago when I lived in Santa Barbara, I grew pot.
Uh-huh.
I grew the best pot and I was known as drugless. Gary, drugless. And it's like, it was very funny to me. And I didn't care if people knew. And it's like, but I didn't realize that most people care about what people know about them and want them to be seen a certain way. I never had that need to be seen a certain way because I never had a clue who I really was.
So that's the different part. I've always had the point of view about how people see me. Like I remember even you telling that story, it's funny because I remember growing pot too in Australia and I got really creative because I didn't want anyone to know. I tied it down. So I learned how to grow it along the ground so that you couldn't actually see it. But but I see where I've done that with my life too, where it's kind of been this keep it out of view with the world.
Tie your life down so it stays on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nobody sees you. You were trying to be a snake.
Well, I remember when the alcoholic came up, when we first had the conversation, and I will never forget it because I couldn't hear the word when we were talking about it. I couldn't hear the word alcoholic. And then I finally built up the courage or whatever to talk to you about it. And I went, okay, look, I can't even hear this word. And there was so many things even on that. Like I look back at things like that. There were so many things I didn't even want to hear about it. And I see that with a lot of people and the way they are with addiction.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like people build an image and their image is more important to them than the reality of what they're creating. And they don't see what they're creating. It's like if you get stoned every day, are you creating your future?
Well, no.
Yes. You are creating the future in which you'll be stoned every day.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the only thing you're planning ahead for. You plan for, where do I get my drugs? Where do I get, how do I get high? What do I, like what's the thing that's going to make my day disappear today?
Let me I'll tell you something. Like so coming down here to Elagara, I stopped vaping. So it's only been
wow.
I don't know, 4 days, right? And that it would seem like a small world, and I realized how much I've been addicted to comfort.
Well, to comfort or to hiding.
To hiding.
The thing I learned years ago about anybody who smokes anything, it's like they have this place where they think the smoke and mirrors will hide what's really going on for them. So nobody will know.
Wow. That's interesting because it's been really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because you've addicted your body to the vape.
Yeah.
Just like in AA programs, the people all are addicted to cigarettes because they sit outside and smoke like chimneys before they go into the meeting.
Well, I noticed even with the not vaping, it would be that there was a need for something there. Whether it would be, I started eating more. I started but it also became this. It's been weird with the way my I go to grab it, even though it wouldn't be there. You know, it was, I
Yeah.
didn't realize how dependent I'd become on that also.
Well, it's like the thing is, we substitute one dependency for another in order to have a sense of having choice.
Right.
It's a pretense of choice. It's not a real choice.
Okay. So let me ask you about one thing, because this has stuck with me for years. You said this to me a couple of years ago when I was really, I would say it was at a point where I wasn't actually drinking, but I wasn't sober. You know, I was struggling with it. And you said, look, if you started living a life that was true for you, your life would take off in ways that you cannot imagine. And that's kind of stuck there in my world, because even when I get that I'm getting to this living more in integrity with myself, I get to something like this with the vaping and I'm like, wow, there is, I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, what is it to live beyond lies with yourself?
Well, what happened for me is I was getting up every morning, having a joint and a mug of espresso. Now, why was I drinking a mug of espresso? Because I wanted to make sure I was high and wired, because that way I was certain I was getting things done, because I was more active than anybody else was when they smoked joints. So when I get up, it's like all of a sudden my life, became space. And it's like, what the heck am I going to fill this space with? And then it became a thing of realizing I had to choose, and I had to choose what I was going to choose in order to create my life. Because I wasn't relying on, I'll start every day with a mug of espresso and a joint so that I'm mellow and high.
That's interesting, because that's what I've had, this sense of being here, especially like having way more space being at Elegar, but also that thing of I'm just used to having something there that I don't that I can use to be more that I can use so that I don't actually have to choose to be everything that I am.
So that you don't have to choose. What are you using so you don't have to be choosing? It's like, and it's like if you look at it and you ask, what am I, using so that I don't have to be choosing? It's like I know guys who do it with, women. They choose a woman in order to not have to choose. They choose business in order to not have to choose. They choose, games in order to not have to choose. And it's just choice. It's like they're addicted to not having to choose. They're addicted to enforcing the not need of choice. And the not need of choice is probably not our best choice.
No, and that's where man, that's where you are so different with that.
Well,
it really is.
When I got out of myself, I began to realize how people were using it. And I watched all these people doing, hey, I'm so mellow. Okay, good. But I also watched the guys that took different kinds of drugs. And there was one guy that I knew he was one of the smartest guys I've ever known. But he took drugs so that he could not think. And eventually he got so addicted to not thinking and not having to do drugs to make that happen, he actually became insane. And he used to walk the streets of Santa Barbara in an overcoat and a pair of shorts, thinking he was just being.
Yeah.
And that's what he thought created the result he was looking for. Didn't actually work.
Yeah. It's been interesting to get the awareness of how close I was to that also. I get many, many different awarenesses of futures that could have been with the alcohol.
Yeah. And now that you're without it, you get indications of futures and you're not sure you want those.
Well, yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah.
Yep. If I'm and that's actually I would say that's exponentialized in the last in the last 4 days with this vaping thing.
Yeah, but it's not with the vaping thing. It's with the space of El Lugar.
Right. Because it makes me want to cry even looking at it with you, because it's this sense of like total rawness with the elements around you. Like it's this sense of just,
well, it's like there's a sense of space there that doesn't exist other places.
you know what's interesting, actually, what that just matched when I said that was you asked me years ago. You asked me, well, a couple of years ago, you said, hey, let me ask you a question. What was it? Look back at the first time you took a drink. What did it feel like?
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I went, oh, it felt like I belonged. When talking about this thing at Elagar, it's actually it's this sense of actually belonging to something that's fucking uncomfortable.
What you have there, if the reason it's uncomfortable is because you belong to the oneness of all that is there. There's an acoustical wavelength that exists there that gives you the sense of the oneness. And one of the things I've noticed about El Lugar is, like, even though we're building, we have tapers that are living underneath underneath our houses. And there are wild animals that come over to check us out and see how we're doing.
Uh-huh.
It's weird.
It's amazing. I've been riding your horses too,
Yeah.
Checking those guys out. And it's interesting, actually, I rode one this morning and he was just, you could feel in his head that he was just stressed and really unsure of himself. And it was interesting just getting on this guy, and just as soon as I sat on him and I put my hand on his neck and he just went, oh, and relaxed.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
What was the name of the horse?
Orion, but I think they say
Orion.
Yeah, Orion. Yeah. So
I learned to say it with a Spanish accent. No Aussie.
My goodness, it's amazing. So I wonder where else to go with this.
Well, what is the image you're trying to create with vaping?
That's a really good question. I would say some sense of normal. I'm like everyone else.
Not everybody vapes.
I know. I get that.
How can that be normal like everybody else?
Or some sense of
you belong to a special group of people.
No, well, the thing that actually comes up is some sense of being seen while also only showing that which I desire to be seen.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so why is that addictive to you?
Good question. It's
Does anybody get to see the real you, or do you get to control what people see of you?
Yeah, you get to control what people see of you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's funny because even before coming on this with you, I was like trying to plan even where to take a conversation with you. And I was like, I don't want to live like that. Like, I'd actually like to be able to show up.
The reality is you can't live like that. You can have a life like that, but you can't live like that. Living is done in the moment and in 10-second increments. Life is done with planning and perfecting.
That is very true. Yep.
And you could probably have better sex if you were in the moment than if you were planning ahead.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I always try to take it to something that people will look forward to.
People will actually listen to me if I talk about adding sex in there.
Yeah.
So let's look at that. Let's use me an example and look a bit more at this then. So with that thing of like creating, because I see where I do that a lot, is it's like creating this, even the image of myself, creating this image of myself that I'll.
So if you if you run into a woman, do you look at how she's going to match your image or how she's going to help you create your image?
Create it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who's creating it then? You or her?
Oh, okay. Her. Yeah.
Yeah. So who's living and who's got a life?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
Different place you have to function from when you realize that this person doesn't create your image. And some people have the idea that they have to have this person to create their image. And it's like, and that's appropriate and true. But if that is that the image you want to live by, is that how you want to have your life show up?
Not anymore.
Cool.
No, not anymore.
Well, I think you've done a great job so far. I'm going to say so far because you aren't there yet.
You know what? Actually,
the reason you're not there yet is because you're not there. You're not at the end of your life.
Yeah. But also, it actually means a lot from that coming from you. But also, I don't think you really. I'm not sure you're aware of how instrumental you've been in my sobriety. Like I remember early on when you said, "Look, I'm not going to be here to bail you out of this one. This is something you actually have to do."
I can't eat for 1 hour. Sorry. Someone was coming trying to feed me. They were very nice.
You're funny.
What? Why am I funny?
Did you get it handled?
Yeah, I just told him I can't eat for an hour.
Yeah, can't eat for an hour, people. Get with it.
Yeah, so there. They assume when they bring food home for me that I need to eat right then, that I am dying of starvation. I usually am, but I also get over it if I don't eat.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So I was thanking you because
You're welcome.
You actually have been a big part of.
Well, I couldn't be there
recovery.
for you on your, on this end of creating your life, because it has to be a choice you make to create. And only the people who choose to create their lives actually succeed at getting sober.
Yep, that is very true.
Yeah.
That is one thing I've learned. And that was why, with AA, I'm grateful for AA and the 12 steps and
Yes.
everything that it contributed. But that was the part where I'd see, and I did a lot of meetings, and I'd see I would see where the people would come in and get sober. But then after a few months, it would be, yeah, but my life, I'm not creating my life still. And that's where a lot of people were relapsing.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't see that there are certain elements of AA where they don't promote you creating your life and figuring out how to create your life.
True story.
And it's like, and you are working hard at creating your life, which is great. But a place where I saw you not creating your life was when you hired people to work for you, your gaggle. You had the idea that your gaggle were going to create your life for you.
Yeah. But I always had that idea that someone else would create my life for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting. What's that?
You were preparing to be a husband.
Preparing to be something. It's interesting that also, though, like to see things now that I had no desire to even begin to look at a few years ago.
Yeah. You've done brilliantly. I'm very impressed.
So let me ask you a bit more about, because you're one person that you're one person that I really admire with the part of living that which is actually true for you. Because I see for me, and I see for a lot of us do it, but not really. Like it's still this.
Yeah, I've watched people for years live, like I have this great life. Now give me. What? It's like I have a guy who, it's like that I know who, it's like he thinks he has a great life. He worked as a school teacher, he worked long enough to retire, and now he goes around the world teaching kids to play volleyball. And he goes to Africa and teaches the kids to swim because they don't learn to swim in Africa. Black people don't swim. What? It's crazy. And they lived on a river that had crocodiles. I think I would learn to swim first before I would ever go in a river where crocodiles were.
Well, you'd learn to swim fast.
Yeah, I would, but that would be me. But they don't even bother, which is weird. And they wonder why they lose children to the alligators. Because you don't teach them to swim. You don't teach them to get out of the way. So it's like, but he thinks he has a great life because of that. And he goes to Africa and he gives these people money and stuff to help them build houses and all that kind of stuff. So I said, okay, so how much can I give you per month so that you can help another family? He said, 300 a month can do a lot. I said, good, here's 300 a month. So I give him 300 a month. And he goes over there and they send me notes and they send me things thanking me for the money, for having helped them get their house, get their daughters in school, all that kind of stuff. Because over there, they still don't put women in school because women are of lesser value than boys. It's crazy, but I would like, it's like what I'm more interested in is how do I change the world so it begin to realize, well, if you're good at something, you're good at something and you're valuable. And it's like, and that's not the normal way people see things or actually try to look at things. I do.
Well, I love that. Yeah. I love the way you look at it like that. It's interesting being down here, doing the tradie stuff again.
Yeah.
That wasn't something I would have chosen a couple of years ago because it didn't match. It didn't match my image.
Yeah.
And it's like, I busted out the grinder and had shit all over me yesterday. It was wonderful.
Yeah. See, the reason I wanted you to do it was because I want you to see what you're capable of.
Yeah.
See, you didn't even realize how good you were as a tradie.
Yeah.
You got drunk every night to avoid looking at what you did.
Oh, dude, drunk or anything. Yeah, but drunk. Yeah. Fucking anything to avoid that.
Yeah. And now you're seeing, and when you do a beautiful job, you're going to be proud of it.
Yeah.
It's like taking pride in your life is a gift. And most people don't look for that.
Well, and you can't even have that. You cannot have pride in your life with the addiction stuff, like especially with alcoholism and pride in your life. Those two things don't go together.
Nope. So you've done miraculous things, and the fact that you're going back and seeing it, and it's like, and do you know you wouldn't want to do that work again?
Yeah, kind of. But also I know that I really like being able to contribute.
Yeah.
Like that's the part that's more important to me. I know that about me now, but
good.
Yeah.
Yes, but you also have not really gotten yet what a contribution your tiling and stuff is.
Yeah.
But you will.
Hey, it's a work in progress, my friend.
I know. Always is.
Always is.
Living is a work in progress.
Well,
living
I remember
is not a completion.
Yeah, true story. I remember you said something a while back when you said someone was asking you about something and you said, I fucking work on myself every day.
Yeah.
I think that's where people don't think that about you. They're like, Gary's perfect and he's amazing and they don't know the work that they don't know the work that you put in.
To get to where I am now, I have worked every
Your
day,
asshole.
all day long for 81 years.
Well, that's why I wanted to
And I'm
ask you
still not where I want to be.
that. That's why I wanted to ask you about that. The energy that you have with what it is to be brutally honest with yourself. The energy you are with that. You've said it to me many times where it's I don't from that space of what if I lose everything, if no one likes me, if
I had
I'm
to
going to
start
find
over
out.
again tomorrow, what would I choose? What would I do?
Yeah.
And it's like, I got a big kick because I ordered from Fuzzy's Pizza the other day.
Love
And the
fuzzy.
guy,
If you're in
man, it's,
Houston, you got to get fuzzies.
yes. And so it's like the guy came to the door and he was probably in his 60s, but he looked like he was 80. I thought, wow, it's like I could get a job delivering pizza if I lost everything. And I just thought that was funny that I would even think that way is amazing. Okay, I can
That
always
is
deliver
amazing.
pizza,
That's true. You
and
could.
I could take whatever dollars I have and go to swap meets and buy things that are worth money for less money and go sell them. I could be a picker. I could do all kinds of things.
Yeah. Man, I love that about you.
And I don't see my life as ever a stopping. My life is get up and have a day. Get up and do what works. Get up and make things happen.
Yeah.
Live your life. Don't, live. Don't have a life. Don't look to the end of your life.
Yeah. That was another thing you actually said to me that I think maybe a contribution for those people who are, doing the recovery stuff and sobriety is I said something to you about healing. I was getting through some stuff. This was early on in my sobriety, and it is a lifelong thing for you. Healing needs to be the rest of your life.
Yeah, you have to heal the rest of your life because you have to look at what you have to change or be in order to heal something.
Yeah.
Now, what do I have to be to heal this?
I love that question.
I've had shingles, a mild case of it for like 4 years. It was really bad in the beginning. Then it got better. Then I decided to not die because
Thank you.
it's like shingles is just like, it's so bad. It's like, oh God, I don't know whether I can stand to live in this much pain. But I got it down to a reasonable amount and I can handle it now and I'm doing better. And I went out and rode my horse for 2 half-hour periods last week. I thought that was amazing. I haven't been able to get on a horse for, half an hour in 2 years. It's good.
Yeah.
I like. So, but it's like I'm constantly looking, what else do I need to be or do to change this? What else do I need to be or do in order to have this? What do I need to be or do to have this? And it's like, if you look from the point of view, what do you need to be or do in order to create something? It's like, to create my life, what do I need to be or do? Number one, I must be bluntly honest with myself. Yeah. Do I truly desire this? Do I truly want this? I'm conflicted right now. I have a desire. My daughter needs $150,000 to buy another house, which has a 12-car garage on it, and they need a 6-car garage to handle his business. And it has a house on it too, where I could stay if I went to visit. And they could do it as an Airbnb in the meantime, whatever. But at any rate, I would like to help them get it. So it's like I have to come up with a down payment because they're putting all their money into fixing their other house, their main house. And it's on its way and it'll be done in probably by December with luck. And we'll see what happens from there. But it's like, this is an opportunity for me to help my daughter, to help her get the stuff. It's like, so I'm going to have to sell some stock in order to do it. I don't care. I'll sell my stock. It's not that important to me. It's not the future I'm trying to create. There's a different future I want to create. So I look to money as a source of creation. What will this money create? If I use this, what will this create? If I do this, what will this create? And I'm conflicted right now because I just came across somebody who offered me a pair of 26-foot long woolly mammoth tusks.
26 foot?
Yeah, they're 60,000 years old, and they're 26 feet long. And I looked at that and I went, ooh.
Help the daughter, buy the tusk. Which one? What am I
Yeah.
going to do?
Well, I went, okay, I'll definitely help the daughter. So how can I buy the tusk? I went, well, I could sell some jewelry. I could sell some stuff. Whatever, I'll make it. And I just decided today I'm going to make it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it.
I love that about you.
You know, it's like, and then I have all this money I need for a lugar too. And it's like, okay, how do I get all this money? Not sure, but we will.
Yeah. If anyone's watching this and you still want to invest down here, oh my goodness, paradise, baby. Whew.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It is something else.
You know, the funny part about it was literally when I saw the property originally, I went, oh God, this is so beautiful. And Claudia said to me, and this is the ugly part.
Yeah.
The pretty part is on the other side of the river. And now that part seems to be as beautiful as the other part, as far as I'm concerned, with all the buildings we've added to it. And it's like, how do you add buildings and make something more beautiful? I don't know, but I'm glad I did it.
Yep. Truly. It's something else. So yes, more money, please. Dear universe, we need lots of
we need to have a profit of, $20, $100 million a year at least.
Yes.
So I can do all the things I want to do.
Yeah. Love it. Well, thank you, Gary, for having this conversation with me. I'm very
glad
grateful
to have it with you, and keep going, my friend. You're doing great.
I will. And so for everyone watching too, I created a video series. It's 12 videos. It's called Rising from the Ashes. It's got a bunch of epic access tools in it. There you go. There's the thing down the bottom there. Check it out. I like it. I'm proud of it. I think it's awesome. So thank you, Gary. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Take care, my friend. And I look forward to seeing your completed bathrooms.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.